Hello, everybody. Away from the hustle and the bustle of a potential new edition of Kill Team, second edition Kill Team, we could call it. I wanted to talk about some of the latest hot stats. Sorry, numbers. This is not a stat show in any way, shape, or form. Basically, we just had three relatively large tournaments happen over the weekend. I just want to talk about them, say who's won all of these, like factions, the people, and just generally celebrate the Kill Team community as we go into what seems to be our final month, 2 months, who knows, of big tournaments. Now, the reason this is happening is because we just had the WTC, that is the World Team Championship. This is cool. End of sentence. Nice. We also had the Warhammer World tournament. Oh, sorry, I should say more. The WTC was 70 players, split into 14 teams of 5, which happened on the Saturday and Sunday. But it was also a 48-player tournament for singles, which obviously anyone that plays Kill Team probably is. That's nice. And then we also had a Hell Patrol tournament, which I was a TO, or a co-TO, a judge for. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit and tell you what kind of the most common questions were. That was a 30-player tournament. And then we also had the Warhammer World tournament, which I believe was a 48-player tournament. We'll know in a moment when I show you the pictures on the screen. I just want to talk about the people and the factions that won all of that, and also hopefully give you a little bit of a rundown on what it's like to TO a tournament and some of the interesting questions. Okay, let's go. Firstly, before we shrinkify me, I would like to say that, hey, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a present. And that present is a big double hello. Wow, wasn't that incredibly wholesome without any sound? It's just a nice moment of reflection for you. If you want that in the next video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Your comment today can be alternative abbreviations for what WTC means. Cool. Okay, right, let's shrinkify me. We don't need that, I'm moving on from that joke. It was going to be hilarious, but let's move on. Okay, now we had the WTC. This was the World Team Championship, as I say, 70 players. It was 7 rounds, I guess, and it was hosted by Francois. Francois is a patron of mine, absolute legend. He's basically the face of Kill Team in France, in Paris, gay Paris. Obviously, I don't need to make a joke about that. It's in the name. Cool. So, it's great to see him be able to go from just hosting tournaments in France to taking it to WTC, which happens in Belgium. And also, is a very big tournament. And it genuinely, obviously I'm going to talk more about it when we get there, but genuinely had, the best players in the world for Kill Team there. I'm pretty sure that if we sat down across any tournament and added up all ITC points, this had the most high-ranking ITC players in any tournament. That's really cool. We then had Warhammer World, which was indeed 38 players, not 48, my bad. This was cool, up at Warhammer World, 6 rounds, so it was a 2-day event from the Warhammer World staff there, which is really cool. And of course, somebody, could be anybody, got a golden ticket, which is very nice. We also had Hell Patrol 2, which happened down in Andover, that's the south of England. There were 30 players. It says 31 on the screen, but we had room for 32, but I don't know, we had 30 in the end. Cool. Nice. 4 rounds, which means that we did actually have 2 players that went undefeated, because technically, once you're over 24, you need 5 rounds. Nice. With that said, let's look at Hell Patrol 2, because I know the most about this event. I just want to very quickly say that, so it was won by Phobos, which is really cool and interesting. We then had Harkin Jaeger, Mandrakes, Pathfinders, Nemesis Claw, Novitiates. And we actually, the top 11 teams, I believe it was. Is that right? Maybe. I don't know. The top 11 teams were all different. That's pretty cool. Or maybe it was the top 14 or 15. There were a lot of different teams. You had to go through a lot of teams until you got to a duplicate. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty healthy to see. And certainly I would not have guessed Phobos would have won this. The maps were a mix of everything. So we had Octarius. Well, sorry, we had Open, which was some were Octarius boards, some were Morok, some were Nakmund. We had every single kill zone in play. We had Into the Dark, and we had Beta Decima. So this is genuinely every kill team and every possible rule set was in play on these maps, which is really cool. As I was guest TO there, so I actually took a bunch of videos and pictures of my thoughts as I was there. I'm gonna release that as a separate video where I just chunk all of those videos together for my patrons. Patrons, if you want to see that, it's a nice casual recap of Hell Patrol. However, takeaways were the main questions that were asked were mandrakes. What do they do? And sure enough, in the first round, a lot of people were asking their opponents, what do mandrakes do? And in fact, mandrakes were the most taken team, with 5 people bringing them. So this was a very mandrake heavy event. There you go. That's fun. We had, so that was the rules questions, were mainly about that. There was one that stumped me, and this is something I should have known and honestly looked up beforehand, and that's the inconsistencies with how Tau drones deploy. So somebody there, Alex Dobrez, I believe, who's normally a London guy, asked me, hey, how does the forward deploy for Tau drones work on the 3 different board types? And I was like, oh god, I don't know. So I had to figure that out. Luckily, he asked me before the event, so I had time to just read through all the FAQs. So we got there in the end, but I'm very glad that he asked me before the timer began. We then had quite an I guess the most complex question throughout the day was probably one from old Bristolian, if you will, Jin the Sheep, where he asked, he was playing Corsairs and he wanted to play, an opponent opened a door on ITD, he wanted to play Ambush, whatever it's called, where if someone's within 4, you can do a dash. No, well, you can perform a charge that is only 3 inches. And so he wanted to do that and then perform a hatchway fight. And so the intricacy there is that a charge must finish within engagement range. However, a hatchway fight, when you perform that, you count as being within engagement range. But he wasn't actually within engagement range after the charge to perform the hatchway fight. And so we did rule it correctly, which was that you don't actually finish the charge. You know, the charge is not successful, so you cannot do a hatchway fight. Yes, you would be in engagement range for the hatchway fight, but you have to do a normal move or a dash there. You cannot charge into a hatchway fight. That took a little bit of back and forth to figure that one out. And that was about it, really. Yeah, for like complex questions. Obviously, we had a few line of sight questions. It's crazy how these things come up. There was one genuinely where it was so close, like, is this guy toe in or not, that I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna get the other judge, and he could decide it, because he was technically the head judge. So I managed to slope those shoulders, you know. But it was so close, and obviously in the tournament you kind of want to give everyone. You don't want to make the wrong call. If it had actually been left to me, I probably would have made them roll off for it because it's too close to call. Nice. When it comes to time limits, I think that this was a long rounded tournament. We had 2-hour rounds with a 50-minute break, and not everybody finished. Round 1, I think we either had 2 or 3 tables that didn't finish. I think, like, you know, they were all in different situations. So one of the tables had to talk out the final turn, and I think one of them just called it at some point and just put in that as their final score. They didn't talk it out because there was too many unknowns, and one of them just played through their break, right, the full 15-minute break, right up until the beginning of the next round. And me and the head TO kind of said after that, like, yeah, that's not actually what we want there. That's not, you know, it's great that they both agreed to do that, but everyone needs a break. You know, we shouldn't allow the social contract and the politeness of 2 people in a game and both thinking, yeah, we can finish this in a few minutes, which turns out to be the whole break, from, stopping someone from having a relaxation moment. Cool. And this happened again. We didn't have any. I don't think by the final round we had anybody, not slow playing, but anybody not finish. But I'm pretty sure in every round, apart from the last, someone did not go the full 4 turns, and that's a little bit frustrating for everybody, I think. Yeah, certainly. If we had some people call it at the end of turn 2, and that's pretty bad. Let's be honest, that's pretty bad. Cool, right. I didn't have anything else for Hell Patrol because, I was going to ad-lib that, and I did. So we then go over to Warhammer World. Lovely. And of course, we see John Reese, who is Can You Roll a Crit, has come first with Gellerpox Infected, with a clean sweep there. All wins, which is really cool. But the winners, therefore, are Gellerpox Infected, Hyrotech Circle, Commandos, Felgor Ravagers, Legionary, Mandrakes. Again, really, really quite good spread of teams there for the winners. Yeah, okay. I haven't put this in either. I thought I took better notes. Let's hope I took better notes for WTC. So, out of curiosity, as I said, Mandrakes, there were 5 Mandrakes at Hell Patrol. Here, there were only 3 Mandrakes. So what there actually were, there were 5 Nemesis Claw. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then there were 4 Legionary. And then Mandrakes, Felgor, Scout, and Intercession were 3 players each. And then everybody else was 1, 2, or 0. Of note, nobody lost every game. Even the player in last place had a draw. And if that's not a win, I don't know what is. That's pretty cool, to be honest with you. Okay, I don't have anything else to say about that. Let's move on to the Woods. So the WTC took place last week. They started with I think it was 48 player. I'm saying a lot of words, aren't I? Of 42 player. There you go. So the WTC first had a singles event, which was a 2-day event, where 42 people, went head to head in a very standard tournament. It's exactly what you'd expect. I will explain the team tournament format soon. However, yes, it was run by Francois, King of the French Kill Team Scene. He gives out great trophies, by the way. He hand makes them himself. They're normally a Warhammer model in a diorama painted by him, and they look really great. So there you go. Yep. Luckily, one of the judges of the event, I follow on Instagram, and that was how I followed along with pictures. So that was cool. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known it was on, to be honest. So, oops. Yep. So for the singles event, there were top 11. The top 11. So obviously, the top 3: Matouche with Brood Brothers, Carlos with Inquisitorial Agents, and Ace with Scouts. I think that is pretty much, yeah. This I'm just saying, this top 6 really does follow the current tier lists out there. Obviously, with a special shout out to number 5, who is Alberto there, who does Battle Kit. Hey, do you know what Battle Kit is? You should go and check it out. It's the best. So just go and search Kill Team Battle Kit, and that will come up for you. And he actually has his URL there as his name, which is very smart, frankly. Go check that out. Great alternative to Wikipedia. There you go. Right. So, is there anything of note to say here? Not really. The only thing I can say is you'll see that actually, much like whereas the Warhammer World, nobody had all losses. Here, nobody had all wins, because Matouche and Carlos faced off against each other in that penultimate round, and they drew against each other. And then Matouche with his Brood Brothers just managed to score slightly higher in all of his games than Carlos. So that was super, super close. Nice. Yes. Do I have anything else to say here? Rules are you can only take one of each. Okay, yes. Cool. So we're done with that. Oh, sorry. Actually, there is one more. Let's talk about the teams. So, top 11. Right. So the top 11 Whereas in Hell Patrol and Warhammer World, you had to go like 15 teams down until you got a duplicate team. Not the case here. In fact, the top 11 were 4 teams: Brood Brothers, Mandrakes, Inquisitors, and Scouts. Across the whole 42 players, there were 6 Scouts, 7 Brood Brothers. Yeah. So let's talk about the WTC teams. Oh, is that it? Is that what I'm looking at? Oh, I don't have anything to say about this here, this particular slide. This is the teams, but you can see the individual players who won or didn't win. This doesn't really mean a huge amount because the way tournaments work is you have captains, and the captains can fix a match. So you you do a draft, and so you're a team of 5 against a team of 5, and one team puts forward their first player with their faction, and then you get to put one of your guys into that guy, and then you select one of your guys, and you go back and forth like that, which means perhaps Lucas Lemon here, with his Mandrakes, always got put into an advantageous matchup by his captain. We don't know, and that doesn't mean he's a bad player. Obviously, as mentioned, everyone here was a very, very good top tier player, but that is generally how that works. So you can fix strong matchups, which does bring us to, just so you know, before we get there, Spain absolutely smashed it. Spain put forward 3 teams, with the final being between their first and second team, and as you can see there, Poland went against their third team, so they did pretty damn well, let's be honest. Right, so very quickly, what are the rules of a team tournament? So, rules are, you can only take one of each faction in your team. You're a 5-man team. Again, there are 14 teams of 5 players. So, yep, every team except Australia had Brood Brothers as one of their teams. Yeah. So maybe Brood Brothers need a bit of toning down. Who knows? Oh, who knows? Not only are they the most taken team in the singles tournament, and they won it, but they are also the team that the faction that every team had. Might mean something. Not sure, but it might mean something. Who am I to say? So the basic team, like the overall, what most of the national teams took was Mandrakes, Brood Brothers, Scouts. Then you add Phobos, Inquisitors or Salvagers, plus a wild card of Gelapox or Commandos. There you go. I could have told you the 14 teams, but that was pretty much it. So instead of running down 70 players, almost every team was those 6 teams or 8 teams, which it's a really interesting one because for the other teams, for Warhammer World and Hell Patrol, it was genuinely a very good sight to see the meta in such a healthy place, as so many teams were coming in the top 10s. As mentioned, neither of those tournaments had any duplicates, which is really impressive. But then, I guess, when you take the top players out of the gene pool, the prize pool for that weekend, I guess that's where all the duplicates went, because these are the best teams. So if you want to know the best teams, it's those. It's Scouts, Mandrakes, Brood Brothers, I guess Phobos, weirdly, Commandos, Gelapox, that sort of thing. I think, for me, the one that was missing here was Felgor Ravagers. They probably would have been good. I don't know why. I think there was only one Felgor in the whole of the WTC Team Championship, which is, to me, a bit odd. There were loads at Warhammer World, though. So, there you go. Cool. That's about it. I don't really have a huge amount more to say. I just wanted to let you know. As I said, this was not a stats tournament, a stats show. I just wanted to kind of go over some cool things that happened this weekend. In the upcoming months, by the way, if you're interested in checking out other tournaments, if you're in the UK, we have obviously Turning Point Tactics. Ryan, he's got a tournament in September. I believe it's the 7th. It's that weekend. I'm unfortunately away, so I can't go. I'm on a family holiday. You might think I'm there now, what with the sun and what I'm wearing, but actually no. This is just England, apparently, for like 1 week of the year. We've also got, if you're mainland Europe, we've got the Prague Open, which you might want to consider going to. I went to the Prague Open in 2019 in the last edition of Kill Team. It was like the last big tournament, really, well, that I went to, but really of that edition. Certainly in Europe, that's for sure. Before we had the big edition change. So if you're that way, I'd recommend going to that. I believe it's like the first weekend of November, which might, depending on when the new edition releases, possibly be like the first big tournament, which is really cool. I might go. I'm undecided. I'm definitely really excited for whatever the new edition might bring, and I want to get out to all these places that I'm close to. I want to do more tournaments in the UK. I want to obviously do Poland and Spain at least once in the year of the new edition, that is. And while I'm out there, why not do Prague as well? If they're putting on a big, cool, nice big tournament, why not hit that up as well? Cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much everything. Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, I would like to give you a little surprise. You're not going to see it coming, but let me tell you this: it is a valuable surprise, and it is a big triple hello. Now, one of my patrons said they don't get my finger guns. I don't know what you mean. They're finger guns. Anyway, that triple hello is a thank you from me to you for watching to the end of the video. It's very impressive of you. I don't know if I would have made it if I wasn't so in love with myself. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.